We got a national media pundit saying that Ben Johnson is not yet sold on Caleb Williams, and may have to cook a little bit on that. We're going to talk about that, plus Ben Johnson and DeAndre Swift's comments on the run game and how they're going to continue to find success in that run game as well. We're going to get to all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Derek Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content today, y'all. And, I want to start off talking about this, and mainly just because I get so tired of the national media trying to make a drama in a situation where there's not some. Of course, you have some idiot Chicago Bears fans as well, and even some Chicago Bears content creators also that just can't get over the fact that Caleb Williams is the Chicago Bears quarterback. And for whatever their reason is, for whatever it is, like they just can't get over the fact. And rather than actually talk about the state of this team and even critique Caleb Williams, rather than legitimate criticism and talk around this team, they want to focus on narratives that is going to cause drama or whatever else. And, I even kind of myself thought about not talking about this at all. But I do feel like you being in a place where you legitimately have a chance to have counter programming, I think you have to take that. I think, us here at Chicago Bears Central, we're one of the platforms that we try to be very responsible with the platform that you guys have given us, right? And so Tyler Dune of Go Long, made it seem as if Ben Johnson has not made a long-term commitment to Caleb Williams. Now, I want to be clear here in this. And is it any world am I saying that if Caleb Williams, for some reason, sucks over the final 12 games of the season, would Ben Johnson maybe not look to bench him in a game or something like that? I'm not saying that. Am I saying that if Caleb Williams somehow falls off a cliff and has like a QBR of 30 for the remainder of the season, would the Bears not consider it? Like, I'm not saying that either. But I think when you look at this, there has been not only a commitment to Caleb Williams that has been done here, but Ben Johnson has, which he's adamantly said that they're committed to Caleb, but you've also seen the results of just Caleb having better coaching and growing under Ben Johnson. But for what it's worth, Tyler Dune said this. The very next split second, the conversation shifted to the union of head coach and quarterback. Could Johnson resurrect 2024 first overall pick Caleb Williams? No relationship with sports is more valuable. Time will tell if Williams is Johnson's guy at the position. That vetting process is ongoing. Chicago's 4-game winning streak, however, is full proof that this coach was always more of a mad scientist. There will be no contouring, no twisting the plan of attack. Rather, Williams must keep pace with Johnson. Okay, here's the thing, right? And is that necessarily the most damning statement? No, he's not out here being a flat-out idiot like Ghost of Judah or somebody like that. He's not doing that, right? But I will say this, like, the drama of is if Caleb is Ben Johnson's guy, let's end that now. Caleb is the quarterback. He is going to be the quarterback for the foreseeable future. If things start changing to where the Bears or Ben Johnson are considering that Caleb is no longer the guy, best believe those signs are going to be there and be adamant. And no, a bad game from Caleb Williams, in which, honestly, if you look at the second half of the game on Sunday, he played better. You talk if that touchdown to Rome wasn't called back, you're talking about him having well over 200 yards, right? Still not the greatest game, but he played much better in the second half of that game. And that's the thing that Caleb Williams has shown, is that he does grow and develop, and he's still growing as a quarterback, right? But to say that Caleb is not, like, to make it seem like, hey, they're still going into the offices every day like, hey, is Caleb the guy? Is asinine. Caleb is the guy. And as it stands right now, they're working on developing and Caleb Williams. And, if that eventually changes, best believe Ben Johnson has been very honest and transparent about most things. If that were to change, it will change. But this thing of trying to make it after every game or after every bad Caleb Williams or overthrow or whatever it is, that it's this thing where, oh, Caleb isn't, they're not convinced on Caleb. They're developing him. That's the whole point of development, right? And so we'll see. I think when you look under a quarterback and under a new head coach, usually it takes about a half a season. for a quarterback to really get familiar with a complete new system. And I'm not saying that Caleb isn't familiar. I don't think familiarity is the problem here with Caleb, right? At least I don't, from the way that I view the game and I look at things after the game, I don't think that it's like him being unfamiliar, uncomfortable in the system anymore. I think that it's just Caleb going through the progression of what Caleb needs to go through. I think he's processing blitzes way better. He's being better under center. The overthrows aren't a system thing. I think that's a Caleb Williams trying to do too much at time thing. And like I said many times before, like we see Caleb miss some gimmies and we see him make some absolute plays that you're like, how the hell did he make that? And the balance between that has to even out. But I'm so over the people that still want to make drama over, is Caleb Williams the guy, or is he he is. For now, he is. And for the foreseeable future, he's going to be. And if that ever changes and that mindset changes around the Chicago Bears organization, it's going to be loud. It's not going to be something that just suddenly comes because of a bad game from Caleb. It'll be a process of things over time. And, you're going to have your people that, everything. When look at the missed opportunities. Look, he's the highest percentage in that. I get that. And that is a big concern for Caleb. Make no mistake about it. But especially while the Bears are finding ways to win, and let's not act like Caleb Williams. Like last game, I could give you, it wasn't Caleb in that one. But even people that were trying to be like, well, he didn't have an impact in the Commanders game. Did you forget that touchdown that put us down by 2 was a pass from Caleb to DeAndre Swift? Like, so let's just stop the bullshit. Let's stop the silliness. Let's be smart. And like I said, this is not to say that criticism and critique isn't there, but let's have that criticism and critique in a place in a conversation that is legitimately rooted in something. That's just my thought process, but we'll see how it's going to go. Now, with that said, Ben Johnson did provide some injury updates yesterday as well. Tyrique Stevenson is dealing with a shoulder injury. Tight end Cole Kmet is dealing with a back injury. Both those guys left Sunday's game early and did not return. He did say in regards to those guys that they are considered day-to-day, week-to-week with their injuries. And as right now, more information is needed before they make a decision on what's going to happen with their availability on Sunday. So, we'll see what happens there. Tyrique Stevenson has been really, really good over the last 3 weeks. And I think, where the Bears have lost some of their depth at cornerback for sure, you want Tyrique Stevenson to be healthy. And so we had a voicemail yesterday on like the Bears, should they consider going after a corner? And I said in that, I'm like, the corner's not necessarily a position that I'm too worried about right now. I will say this, if Tyrique Stevenson does get to a place where he's going to be missing some considerable time, I don't know if that changes a little bit, right? If that changes the mindset where it's like, all right, now are we worried about cornerback? We'll see what happens there though. But overall, those are updates to those guys. We'll see. No news sometimes is good news. It's not an update as far as them not being available, but we'll see over the next 24 hours once injury reports and things are released where the Bears feel about those guys. But let's move on from that. Let's talk about some of the things that really stood out for the Chicago Bears in Sunday's game, right? And one of the things was, of course, 216 rushing yards from the running back position, specifically just the running back position. That's really good when you see that. DeAndre Swift, 175 all-purpose yards. That he had, and he had himself a really good game. Kyle Monangai as well, best game of his career, 81 yards and a touchdown on 13 carries. Roschon Johnson even had 11 yards on 1 carry as well. And so the running backs themselves averaged over 6.5 yards per carry. And so it seems like now the Bears are hopefully going to be able to start turning one of their biggest weaknesses into a strength for themselves, and that is the running game. And I do think it's not just the team that you come across is definitely something there as well. But also, like, there was just more intentionality at thinking about how he used his running backs, and that's a really good thing. And so you're going to see that, right? So the Bears, the running game stood out really, really big. Of course, on the defensive side, the 4 sacks and 4 turnovers force. That was something that was major for the Chicago Bears. And this is another thing that the Bears forcing turnovers has become part of their identity. And that is Dennis Allen. That's Al Harris. That's this coaching staff really getting in these guys' ears and letting them know how they want them to attack the ball. And that's not by happenstance at all. So you're seeing these two things go, and especially the Bears' run defense really stood out. And, 4 sacks in a game for this team where we've talked about the pass rush being a disappointment so far on the year. All those things going in the Bears' way are things that stand out positively about this team. And hopefully this continues to go in that direction for this team as we're still filling this thing on out, right? So the running game get going over the last 2 weeks has been really something. And Ben Johnson talked about specifically DeAndre Swift and the running backs, and he said this. Yeah, I think that's all of our guys. You just keep going back to work. When things go your way, you go back to work. And when things are hard, you go back to work. That's really the answer for everything, and that's what we're going to do and continue to do as a team. But to your point, Swifty has done a great job here the last 2 weeks. We're at the point of the season now where no one feels 100% anymore, and that's what it's going to be the rest of the way. None of those guys feel great. Their bodies don't feel good, yet you still show up and you find a way to be there for your teammate next to you, and Swifty certainly exemplifies that. And DeAndre Swift has had a great run now here the last 2 games. And now that you've worked in Kyle Monangai into that as well, the hope is that you're going to start finding stability in your run game. And that's the key word with this run game. Let's get to the place of stability. And then at that point, let's see how good we can be comparative to the league at that point in time. And getting to the stability, that's what Ben Johnson has been trying to focus on these last couple of weeks. That's what Ben Johnson and this coaching staff have been doing. And, it's a work, right? And Theo Benedict was really good in the run game, not so good in the pass game and last game. Darnell Wright has had himself 2 solid games in the run game as well that he's done back-to-back. And things are starting to look up for the Bears in those areas, but they got to continue to do it. I'm not going to use 2 weeks to all of a sudden say that the Bears' run game is fixed. It looks like it's going into the right direction, but I can't say that it's fixed quite yet because there's still so much that still needs to be improved in this before I'd be willing to say that it's fixed. But it is improving. And if we can find that stability while improving it, that's where you can start building off and then hopefully have something special with this team. And DeAndre Swift talked about it as well. He said this, all 10 other people on the field are doing their job. When they're doing their job, I got to do mine. O-line is doing what they're doing, and receivers blocking. Everyone in our room should have a phenomenal day. And you got to give it up to the blocking that's been done there, right? Since the change of Braxton Jones to Theo Benedict, it's made a big difference in the run game. And I just mentioned Theo Benedict has some work that he needs to do as a pass blocker. That's there, but it has made a difference. Darnell Wright, has been back being good, right? But I do think you got to look at the run blockers that we have. Joe Thuney, Jonah Jackson, Darnell Wright. These guys have really stepped up. And, even the penalty issues that have been there at time for sure. Darnell Wright has cut those down over the last couple of weeks, which has helped the Bears have better success in that. I think Luther Burden as well, when you look on him and what he does as a blocker, that's something that's underrated. I know we're excited about what Luther Burden can be as a wide receiver, but part of a wide receiver's job is also blocking when called upon. And Luther Burden has done a really good job at that. If you go back and look at the All-22 on run plays that Luther Burden is out there, Burden does a really good job at pass blocking, and that could be something that the Bears continue to try to build off of, right? You want to find your hooks. You want to find the things that you can try to build success off of, and that's one of those things that you can do as well. And I just think that it's being that you got to find the balance. And Ben Johnson, DeAndre Swift, all these guys have been really good at talking about how the run game, it takes a total team effort, and it takes that. It's not just the running backs. It's not just the offensive linemen. It's the wide receivers. It's the tight end. It's the coaches. It's the play call. It's the play design. All those things play into your ability to have a really solid run game, and that's what the Bears are trying to get to. Now, are they there yet? No, I won't say that, right? They still have, there are things they need to work on for sure, but they're getting there. And when you look at like some of the best offensive grades for the Bears per PFF, Drew Dahlman, 74, he was second. DeAndre Swift, of course, was one with 83. Kyle Monangai was third with 73, but then Joe Thuney and Jonah Jackson, they were right there. Those are the 5 best offensive PFF grades last week for the Chicago Bears, and that's because of their progress and what they've done in the running game and the fact that the run game was such a large part of the Bears' offensive production last week or on Sunday. So all that plays into that, and it's really good to hear that when you look at the best defensive grades for the Chicago Bears last week, TJ Edwards, 86, Nashawn Wright, 85, DeMarco Jackson, 83, which we watching you, my boy. Javon Dexter with 76 and Kyler Gordon with 74. These are all names that are going to be important for the Bears with the injuries that they have. DeMarco Jackson, I won't necessarily say he's going to be a big part of it, but imagine flipping where the snaps that he was in with Noah Sewell, right? So things are looking up for the Bears. And the thing that I always like to point to and do a good job at talking about is that the Bears are moving in the right direction. That's what this team is doing. And as long as you're moving in the right direction and you're improving week in and week out, that's where you start uncovering some things about your team. So, I hope that this continues. And with the Bears pass rushing game getting better, and the run defense both improving over the last couple of weeks. Let's build on that. Let's use that confidence to go into the next level for this team, and I really think that we can do that. With getting TJ Edwards and Kyler Gordon back and Tremaine Edmonds playing the way that he's been playing as well, not only is this a Bears defense that has the identity of getting takeaways, but they get stops when it matters the most. And you can build off that. That's something that you can bet on. And, there's going to be some frustrating moments. Absolutely. That's going to happen. But, things are improving. And when you really look at how things have shifted for this team just over the last couple of weeks, there's no doubt that the Bears are starting to get this together. The question now becomes about how well can they keep it together, and then how do they continue to build off that? What new heights does that take this team to over the course of the season? So we'll see. And, the trade talks and rumors have kind of subsided. Some you're hearing less and less about the Bears making trades. That could actually mean that a trade becomes more likely, especially with Ryan Poles. But I think overall, things are just the Bears are winning football games. And there are even some people like the NFC North. Almost every team in the North has 4 wins, right? The Bears have stayed, despite starting off 0-2 in the NFC North, the Bears have stayed right there on pace. Now, they needed 4 wins in a row to get it, and we'll see how well they can keep up. But right now, for what it's worth, they're keeping up in the NFC North. The only team without 4 wins in the North is the Minnesota Vikings. That's it. The Bears are right there. Everybody else has 4 or 5, with the Lions having 5. So we'll see what this team can do, man. Things are moving in the right direction, and it's good to see us getting wins and Bears fans getting to talk about wins. But with that said, we got one voicemail that I want to get into before we get out of here. This one's from Keys.
What's the deal, fellas? It's your boy Keys, man. Hope all is well with you guys. With that being said, let's get to it. Whew, man. Got the dub. Happy about that. That's 4 in a row. I don't think CBC has seen 4 in a row while we've been, or while you guys have been in broadcast. But let's look at some positives that we got. One, it's always good to win, no matter what it looked like. A win is a win, and we ain't going to give it back. 2, I think as the weeks have gone on, the run game has gotten better and better since we played on Monday night, and today we got 222 yards and 2 touchdowns. What I would probably like to see more is more of them getting like Rojo the ball. He got 1 touch again for 11 yards, I think what I saw. But Swift and Monangai, man, my God, they fucking balling right now. And Ben Johnson, what they call him when it comes to the run game, it was really good. We just got to get better. It was some stops that we had on our own that messed us up a little bit. But overall, when they got busy, bro, it was barbecue chicken. You know what I'm saying? As far as our pass game, Caleb, I think he tries to do a little bit too much. And I think with Ben Johnson, to a fault, he tries to put him in positions that are right. But I think Caleb, and he's still growing from this, and I think we got to be a little bit patient with it, where he's got to learn, hey, I can't take the home run every fucking play, but I can get these easy yards. And if it ain't there, Caleb, you're a fucking athlete. Run, dog. It was a couple plays during the game where he just sat back there, and they could have sacked him at least 3 or 4 times, which could have put them in position to come back and win this game. But athletically, he was able to escape out of it. One of it was a throw to Swift that he turned up and made something out of nothing. You can't be risky, Caleb. You got to just take what you can get. It's going to be big plays that have to happen. Them guys going to come open, bro. You got to trust yourself and just fucking make a play. Like, make the right plays. Don't make the big plays all the time. Make the right plays. As far as our defense, 4 sacks. I ain't taking that back. You know, the DBs is really leading this team, and Edmonds and Edwards, bro, they fucking balling. D-line still got to progress, but, you know, we got a big week coming up, man. Let's go ahead and headhunt the motherfucking birds in Baltimore. With that being said, man, hope you guys like this. Let me know what you think. As always, Chi-Town up, bear down.
Always good to win. And like it does always feel good to win. And this is something that Bears fans, I hope they're appreciating this, because it's not always going to be this way, right? Like, we're going to have a losing streak at some point this season, more than likely. Hopefully it's not more than 2 games, right? Those type of things. But it does feel good. No matter how you get the win, it feels good to win. And I would say those grinded out wins in a lot of ways do feel even better, right? The running game is getting together. And I do think that, seeing Swift and Kyle Monangai in the last game, they could be a really solid duo. I do think that they have a skill set that complements one another. And then you do have Roschon that you can bring in there. I think what we're seeing over the last couple of weeks is they're going to bring Roschon in on very specific type downs. But I do think that points to Roschon probably not being in the future plans for the Bears. Like, that's the ultimate takeaway that I take from Roschon not getting a lot of snaps, and is that they just, at this point, they probably are they're solid and moving on for Roschon at the end of the season and bringing in a different running back and probably keeping Swift and Monangai and then having that as your running back room. That's probably what's going to happen, right? But I think when you use Roschon in scenarios that really fit his skill set, that bruiser of a running back that grinded out, like he's gonna be productive for you in those areas too. So it seems like we're having balance. Like we could have and that's what we said coming into it, that there was a chance of having a nice mix of skill sets in this running back room. We just haven't been successful and productive in it, and hopefully that's going to start to change. As far as Caleb, Caleb's going to have his cold nights. It's going to happen, right? And he'll be perfectly fine in the long term. I do think you're right. He's still growing as a player. I'm glad that Ben Johnson's there to help that. But what I will say is that I do want Caleb Williams to take risk. I want him to be that quarterback that take risk. Now, I think you need to be better. The thing that makes Caleb's risk kind of stand out is that he misses so many of the gimmies at times, as far as like just simple plays that he either underthrows or overthrows. If he eliminates that part, I want him to be the quarterback to take the risk. And I think that's just part of who he is. He's going to be a bit of a gunslinger. Now, as you grow and develop, those risks become more calculated. And I think that's an important part of the development process for Caleb Williams. But I still want him to be a quarterback to take risks. I don't want him only to play it safe. I just want him, when the Bears do decide to go to a safe play call, execute it. Like, just execute the gimmies a little bit better. And, we'll see where that happens and how Caleb develops over that time with that one. But, I think overall, like, you hit on a bunch of great points. And this Bears team, like I said before, it got some talent on it. And for Bears fans that were completely down on this team coming into the season, hopefully they have started to turn you around, that they actually do have a direction now. And we just got to see what's going to come out of that. But that's my time, y'all. Make sure you guys are following us at Shy Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.